Welcome back to the Good Labs channel. I'm your host, Grant Horvat, and today we're going to be reading fans' comments and answering your questions here on the range. So let's get right into this. So we get a lot of comments, guys, a lot of questions, but it's hard to answer every single one of them. I picked a few comments here that we're gonna go over, guys. We're gonna answer your questions on the range here and try and help you out. So the first question here is by Human Person. Great name. Can you do a video explaining all of the golf terms to non-golfers? Stuff like steep, quick, handsy, hitting down or up on the ball. Okay, I like that. That's a good question. So I'll explain steep quick. Steep is basically, guys, this is considered steep. If you look at the butt end of the club here, if this moves straight down, that is considered steep because the shaft will move straight down. If you want to move shallow, the butt end actually has to move out towards the ball, and that is a shallow shaft. So focus just on this part of the club. If it moves straight down, that's considered steep. And what happens when you're steep is you have to flip it because you're not rotating. When you're shallow here, you can turn and hold the face. So that's basically the word steep. His other question, I saw another term he wanted answered was handsy. Handsy would basically mean when you're over the ball here, this is handsy. If you're not turning your body, and through impact you can be handsy if you're just flipping. The idea is that you don't want to be handsy. That's actually a pretty bad term in golf. You don't want to be a handsy golfer because that means you're using all your arms and hands and you're not using your big muscles. It's not a great term. It's not, you don't ever want to be called handsy. Another one, let's look at, he said hitting up or down on the ball. Basically when you're hitting down on the ball, your angle of attack is coming in on a downward angle. When you're hitting up, you're getting to a point and your arc is moving upward. So you're getting to a point, you hit the ball and you move upward. It's easier to see that on TrackMan when you have your angle of attack. You can have upwards and downward angle of attack. When those terms come into play is when you're hitting your driver. You want to be hitting up on it and not down. I'll answer one more here from Human Person. He said compressing a ball for the terminology. Compressing the ball basically means when you're going through the ball, you're hitting the ball flush and it's riding through the entire part of the club face here. Basically, when you compress a ball, you're hitting it flush and through the whole ball like this. You're working from the inside and hitting through the ball. When you're hitting it like swipey and you're mishitting it, you're kind of swiping across the ball like this. See, that's on a deflecting angle. Compressing it would be when you move through the whole ball. So your path is in to out. This would be kind of swipey. Moving on to the next question. Air Force 1969. Love this, guys. Would love a video on lag and maybe shallowing the club. We will have a video coming out in the future on shallowing the club from the top, getting shallow and rotating, but I'll basically explain lag really quick. Lag comes from one thing, and that's when you get up to the top of your swing and you start and your lower body separates from your upper body. So when you get up here, it's the transition of your lower body and the hands staying up here and the club lagging like this. This would be considered lag. This would be casting. This would be lag, is when the club creates more of an angle from the top here when you're coming down and not this. That's what a lot of people do. So lag is a good thing in a lot of ways, but it's sometimes hard to time. If you get too much of it, then you gotta really flip it. But it's basically just this angle you're creating right here in the shaft on the downswing. Next question, Christian John, he says, do one with what does sweeping the club mean? When I hear the word sweeping, I immediately think of a wedge. I'll explain something really quick. On a wedge right here, this bottom part here is called the flange of the club or the bounce, this soft part. And this edge here, this is your leading edge. So when you're sweeping, you don't want to be using this leading edge like this. That's the leading edge. When you're sweeping, you want to be sliding this part of the club along the ground. So what you need to do is move your hands back a little bit, and that would be considered sweeping when you're doing that. You're not taking a huge divot, you're just sweeping the club across the ground. And you're sliding this part right here just along the ground. It's making a sweeping motion. And I would recommend everybody out there to be sweeping when they're chipping. I don't like to see a lot of divots when you're chipping because I see a lot of people doing this. And that's the worst thing. You're using this leading edge here. Really, really beneficial if you're using the bottom part of the club here. Next question, Cole. He said, how far back should your backswing be? Does it change for every person or is there a standard? When we're talking about the backswing, the thing that I look for the most is that your shoulders and upper body, they're completely turned and your back is pointed towards the target here. Whether your arms are here or here, it doesn't really matter to me. That's a whole different thing. That's called your arm swing. I'm more interested in if you're turning your upper body and shoulders and making a full turn versus where the club is traveling. So you can make a full turn and only take it to here, you can also make a full turn and take it all the way here. There's a lot of successful people that have short backswings like Tony Finau, and then you got your longer backswings like John Daly, but they're both making big turns, and that's what matters the most. That's what I look for. So if you're turning this shoulder here or here, it doesn't matter as long as this is coiled. On to the next question. Douglas, he says, you lost me as soon as you said Spieth rotates and turns better than Freddie and Els. That was on the tempo video when I was explaining tempo, and I was saying that Freddie Couples and Ernie Els, they don't rotate as good as Spieth, which is very true. So basically what I'm saying is Spieth at impact, his hips are like this and he's holding his face like this through impact. So his face does not really turn over a lot. He's kind of rotating his body and holding. When you have someone like Freddie Couples and Ernie Els, they rotate from here to here. There's a lot more face rotation. So the club may be here and it may end up here. However, Spieth, he kind of holds that angle the whole way through the ball. So his face never really turns over. He holds and rotates, and that's what makes his swing look a little bit more rigid a lot of the time, which is kind of interesting when you're talking about tempo. Freddie Couples and Ernie Els look super syrupy, but that's a lot because they release their hands a lot. Because that's what makes that tempo, is when you release a lot down at the bottom, it kind of makes it look smooth. But when you're like Spieth, he goes like this, it kind of looks a little rigid. All right, Dylan Lane, I'm playing tomorrow, thank you guys. Been watching since Good Good Labs had 15K. The Good Good squad is amazing. We really appreciate you, Dylan, watching these Good Good Labs videos. Hopefully you guys are learning a lot. That's our main goal, is to help you guys. We started way back with the grip, and we've kind of worked our way up throughout the entire golf swing, and that was our whole goal, was just to make you guys better golfers and give you fundamentals that'll help you, and also you can go help your friends out. That's one thing too. If you see your buddy doing something not right, go over, help him out if he's struggling. All right, here we go. On to the next one. Ultimate J, he said, how do you maintain a light grip pressure on the downswing? To me, light grip pressure, I don't necessarily agree with people barely holding onto the club. I want a nice firm, I'm not saying I want you to be strangling it, but I want a nice firm grip pressure, and to maintain that throughout the whole swing. You should never get up to the top and start to grip at it and want to hit it really hard and strengthen your grip pressure. That's the worst. You want to maintain the same grip pressure throughout the whole swing. It doesn't have to be super light. When you're asking the question how to maintain it, I would basically say when you get up to the top, I want you to make a full enough swing here that you can just uncoil. Because a lot of the times when people change their grip pressure is when they make too short of a backswing here and they grip it and want to try and hit it super hard. So they grab. What you got to do is make a nice big turn here, let the hips release, and then you can just come through naturally. You have a big enough backswing so you can go right into your follow through and not have to grip it super hard. All right, on to the final question here. John Limming. He said, love the tips, guys. My suggestion is to take a novice golfer like me and work on these Good Labs and tips with them. I would love to see a range session with someone who can't break 100 and illustrate their problems in their swing. I absolutely love that comment, John. We will be having people on in the future that are new to golf. We wanted to collab with a lot of, you know, celebrities and people that are wanting to come on the Good Labs channel. For example, though, obviously Steve was not shooting in the hundreds, but Steve is somebody that we have had on the Good Labs who he's gotten a lot better. We've worked on his game super hard, done a lot of videos with him, and he's getting so good now. So he's kind of one of the people that when I think of somebody improving and getting really good, Steve's the first guy that comes to my mind. His putting's amazing, and we're getting Steve's swing super dialed in. So he's obviously not shooting in the hundreds, though. I know exactly what you're talking about, John, and I know what you want to see, and we'll try and make it happen. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that video. I love answering all your guys' questions because we see them all. It's hard to answer them all sometimes, so when we're able to do this on the range, we have some extra time. We'll answer your guys' questions and any little terminology you're confused with. We'll try and help out right here on the range. But until next time, guys, peace out.